He then looked at me and said, "You're wet." And then he just flipped out. Am I supposed to feel bad now because you're wet? I know why you're still feeling so confused after that relationship. And I know how you were brought to this point that you never imagined you would come to, sacrificing your own need, leaving the driver's seat of your own life to get into the back seat, putting another person in front of yourself, even as they were treating you more and more poorly. I have been there myself. Let me share with you a few stories from my own story to explain the terms of emotional manipulation, because the terms themselves are hard to understand if there is no story behind them. I'm Emma. I'm a medical doctor. I'm a survivor of domestic violence and narcissistic abuse. The first story is the story about bloody feet. I have really big feet, so I have now the special order shoes. But when I was younger, I wouldn't accept that the largest size in the ladies' department did not fit my feet. And right before this trip that my then boyfriend bought for us, he also bought me a pair of new shoes. And they were a bit smaller than the size that I would normally wear. On the trip, we did a lot of foot walking. And on the second day, my feet were really, really sore. I told him that I can't continue to walk for so long distances. My feet are really hurting. And he looked at me with irritation and told me that you have nothing to complain about. You don't know how much my feet are hurting. They are hurting more than your feet. So that made me shut my mouth. We continued walking, and I tried not to make any faces because my feet were really hurting for every step. After a bit, we came to a fountain, and he sat down on the edge of the fountain and took off his shoes, it was almost theatrical, and putting his sore feet in the cold water to soothe them. And I sat down and tried to hide the fact that it hurt just taking my shoes off. And then I took my feet forward, and he gave them a glance, and they were bloody. The toes were bloody, like the skin had loosened in a couple of places. They were really hurt. And he became irritated. And we didn't talk about it. And that was the way that things would normally go. I would have the feeling that I'm making things difficult. I am creating problems. I'm ruining everything. That's what he would tell me. And I'm being sensitive. I'm being dramatic. And I'm always trying to bring something. I will always bring a small thing up that will destroy the whole event. It will destroy the mood. And he will give me the silent treatment. He won't talk to me, or he will be irritated, or in the worst cases, he will rage at me for ruining things and for making him feel bad and for not telling him sooner or for not thinking about it sooner so that I would have gotten another pair of shoes. But to mention the terms, the emotional manipulation terms that were at work here, it was minimization, and perhaps also a bit of the silent treatment afterwards. And that was the time, so before that, there had been some honeymoon phase, the mini love bomb where he bought me the trip. And then I ruined everything, and now he had to get irritated and passive aggressive. So that shift, it's also part of the emotional manipulation. That is called the emotional or the abuse cycle. The honeymoon phase, the love bomb phase, and then the tension build up, and then the blow up phase. And then it goes around in a circle. Except you don't recognize that it is a circle when you are in it. So you just feel that, well, January was quite good, and then February, it was a bit tense, and so was March. He was really stressed then. He had lots going on at work. And in April, we had a big fight, and he called me some nasty things, and he destroyed something I really liked. And then he went nice again, so May was a good month. But then in June, he had his final exams, and he was really stressed. And the whole summer, well, we had lots of arguments, and he went away with a friend on vacation. So that's how it will go. Like, you will be confused because it will be very chaotic and a lot of guilt, blaming thrown around. But it is a cycle. If you would, as I did, trace it back in your journals, you would see that it is a pattern that is repeating itself. And usually, if a method worked really well for him, he will use it again. So to see through his manipulation, I had great help of my journals that I kept for years. Well, fast forward a bit, another trip. He bought me another trip, this time to Italy. And one night we got lost in the evening, so we couldn't find our way back to the hotel. And this was before the smartphones, I think. At least we didn't have a smartphone. And we had just one umbrella. So he held the umbrella, and I just hung on to his arm. And we walked for hours, and I was really uncomfortable. we asked for help, like trying to get people to help us to the hotel, but they didn't know where it were, and it got late. And then, like, after several hours, we came back to the hotel, and I was completely wet on one side of the body because I was not covered by the umbrella. But having learned from several incidences, like the one with the shoes, I did not say anything for the whole walk. So when we got back to the hotel, I just said, well, let me just go and have a shower and change my clothes. He then looked at me and said, you're wet. And I said, yes. And he said, why are you wet? And I said, well, the umbrella didn't cover my side. And then he just flipped out, like, so why didn't you tell me? So am I supposed to feel bad now because you're wet? And he got really angry with me for being wet and for not telling him. So this is guilt tripping, making me feel guilty because I have needs, or because I'm a human that gets wet when I'm not covered by the single umbrella. And also it is blame shifting because he was the one selfishly holding the umbrella on top of himself. So he could have looked at me and say he was the one controlling the umbrella. He could have looked to see if he did cover me. But instead, he blamed me for not speaking up. So I couldn't win. If I spoke out, I was dramatic and not thinking about how horrible he had it. And if I didn't speak up, I was making him feel guilty. So no matter what I did, it was always put back on me. Just a second, let's see. So fast forward even more, the last couple of years of our relationship. My then husband was really increasingly controlling in a way that is called coercive control. So he would, at first it was helpful suggestions. He would tell me that you need to do it this way because it is more effective, or this will save you time, or it is better because of this and this. And I would usually listen to him, because not listening to him would lead to him pouting or becoming angry or irritated. And it was not conscious, but I was very careful not to irritate him or set him off. And also his suggestions were often acceptable or quite good. Sometimes I thought they were wise, and sometimes I thought they were stupid, but I knew better than to say it straight out. But that in the last few years it shifted, so it was no longer helpful suggestions. It was more demanding or irritated. And when I did not do as he had told me to, he got really mad. And he was even trying to control what I was eating. So he would police my lunchbox to see what I was bringing to work. And at this point, I was half the weight I am now, so I did not need to lose weight. But he thought I needed to lose weight. So to help me, because he told me that left to my own devices, I would make the wrong choice. He would then tell me what I should eat and how much. And it wasn't enough. And I would get hungry at work and tired because I was working full days. And when I told him that, he said that is just you having negative affirmations. And that teaches your brain to become lazy. And you are not really hungry. You are just thirsty. So you should drink more water or more green tea. So that is coercive control combined with gaslighting. Gaslighting means that he questions my reality. My feeling of being hungry or tired was not the truth. The truth was that it was negative affirmations and thirst. So even though to an extent I could see through his behavior not being normal, because I realized that he probably had narcissistic personality disorder or cluster B personality disorder type diagnosis in 2017, even though he is not diagnosed, what I know of. I thought that it is something I have to work around. It is something that he can't help. It is like autism or dementia. So I tried to be understanding and improve what I could in our relationship. And I also accepted a lot of the adult responsibility because I thought that he is just incapable. And now I'm sort of stuck because we have 2 kids and he is he won't do that well independently. So I felt responsible for now taking care of him because we were married. Well, I will tell you one last story that about me waking up to smell the coffee. The fact that I was actually being manipulated and used, and it was intentional. And this is the story about the Red Volkswagen. So I had gotten a car. I was gifted a car from my grandfather when he stopped driving because of his diminishing eyesight. And it was a Red Volkswagen. And it was a nice car. It had only had one owner, which was my grandfather, and he took really good care of it. And there were no problems with this car for all the years that I had it. And I would use the car to drive from our home. That was, well, by car, it was 7 minutes outside of town. I would drive to the kids' school and then to my work in the morning and after work. So I worked full days. So we would go and be at kids' school at 7:30 or something. And I would pick them up around 5 p.m. In April 2023, I was going, this was a weekend, so it was no work, but I was going into the town with my kids in the back seat. And then my daughter, 6 years old, suddenly didn't have a seatbelt on. It had unbuckled. And my son told me that his little sister didn't have a seatbelt on. And I tried to tell them, well, yes, put the seatbelt back. Can you buckle her up? But they didn't manage. So I pulled over on a bus stop on the side of the road. And in Sweden, that is allowed to do that. If you're just stopping temporarily, like to pick someone up or to drop someone off. So I stopped, I helped her with the seatbelt, and then I went forward to the driver's seat. And I put the blinker on to the left to go out, but there was a lot of traffic that day. And this was, it was not a motorway, but the cars were going like at medium speed, and it was a straight road. So I could see a far distance back. And there I could see a bus approaching. And it was a long way back. So I think that, well, the bus, obviously, he sees me and he sees that I'm blinking. So when he comes close, he will slow down and let me go to the road so that he can go into the stop. That's not what happened. The bus came closer and closer, and still in front of the bus were cars going, so I couldn't get out of this small pocket, the small bus stop. And I could see in the rearview mirror the bus approaching, and now it was really close. And I just remembered a few seconds when I realized it's not slowing down, and he blinked to go right into the stop. And then I just blacked out for a few seconds because I thought that this is like we're going to die because he is going to hit us. And he did hit us, but we didn't die. He just hit the side mirror because he rammed us and went into the pocket. And then he came out screaming and yelling because I had parked in the bus stop and because I had parked poorly. So it was too tight for him to fit in like he had planned. Well, he was not a very nice bus driver. Anyway, I spoke to his manager on the phone, and we agreed that the manager would call me when I got home so that we could exchange the information because we needed to make an insurance report to the insurance company about this the accident, and no one was hurt. So it was just a matter of who was responsible and if I could get like payment or help to repair the car. But when I came home with my kids, and when I finally opened the door and went inside, and right at that moment the telephone rang, and it was this manager. And I talked to him, and my voice started to shake, and then I started to sob because I was in shock still from the accident, and that just came out when I came home. And that's not typical of me because I usually keep my head cool. And I was used to my tears being met with irritation from my husband. So when this manager got really nice and empathic and told me that he was so sorry that this had happened and that he would take the bus driver to the side and talk to him after the shift was finished, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, that a man, he was a man, he was empathic. Like, isn't every man like my man? Evil and getting irritated when you cry and can't handle that. No, they're not. And that just brought his behavior into the light that this actually exists. You can actually get empathy even from a guy or from a stranger. Well, my husband did come home a bit after that, and I was hoping to, well, now I can get some tenderness from him as well, because he hadn't showed that to me for a long time. He was so irritated with everything I did wrong. But I thought that now I do deserve some empathy, because I just been in an accident that almost killed me, and I'm shaking from that, and it was not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong, so he can't blame me. He has to show me some love now. And I was still hoping for that, working for that for years. Well, he didn't do that. Instead, he got really, really angry and yelled at me for parking in that bus stop, and I was stupid and it was my fault. And I remember me actually dropping to my knees in this despair, and he was standing over me, yelling and telling me how stupid I was. And I asked him to leave. Like, if you can't support me at this moment where I just been in an accident, then you can please leave until I can gather myself. But the story of the red car doesn't stop here. So now I will tell it to you fully, because everyone I know is tired of hearing the story of the red car repeated. But it is just because this was such an important piece of the puzzle for me. Eventually, it took many months. In August, the insurance company decided that I wasn't at fault and that I should be compensated. So either I should get money for the car or they should repair it. And at this point, I had been going for 4 months with my kids to work and school by bus. That meant that we had to wake up earlier and we had to come home later, and it had been really tough. My husband refused to pick the kids up earlier. He said that he will never do that. That's my job, even though he was unemployed. And he caused an argument because I tried to demand that he do that. Well, in August, he became really, really sweet. And this is not the first time he has done this tactic either. But I didn't realize it. Still, I didn't realize it. I thought that he's just behaving this way because he can't control it. That's all he knows. And that's like his way of dealing with or not dealing with things. That's the result of him being incapable of self-reflection. So everything is just pointed at everyone else, and I'm the closest one. So I just have get most of the blame. In August, he became really sweet and told me that, your grandfather's car was quite old, so even if it had worked well up until this point, there are pieces in the car that needed to be changed. So even if they repair this, like the outside of the car, you will have to fix the car up in not too long. So it will cost a lot of money. It's much smarter if we choose to get the payment for the car, and then we can buy another used car that will work better or for longer. And I didn't know, and I don't know that much about cars, so I just trusted him. Still believing that, even if he's behaving this way, he still has my best interest at heart. In November, the car payment came. And my daughter asked excitingly, because they had heard now for half a year that soon we won't have to go by bus because we're going to get the car. And then she asked, I told them that, well, the payment is coming next week. And she asked her Dad, so are we getting the new car now? And he told her that, no, we can't get the car because we need to use the money for something else. And he was controlling the finances at this point and making all the big financial decisions. And this was just taking it a step too far because I was at my wit's end, couldn't continue to go by bus. And I told him very calmly that I can't do it. I need a car. And his response was, well, to punish me. First, he became withdrawn. And then he told me that with a smirk that, well, I'm not feeling this good, so I can't help you on Sunday as I told you with the kids. So you'll have to figure out a way to do all the week's cooking with them at home this Sunday because I'm not feeling good. And I could see that he was not ill. He was doing this as a direct punishment for me expressing the need to have a car. That was my car that I had gotten as a gift. And he had manipulated me to choose the money so that he could take them. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And it made me so angry that I gathered the courage to leave, even though at this point there was other things going on, among them physical abuse, and things were at the point where they could have gotten really dangerous and out of hand. So I had to leave in a safe manner, but that's a topic for another video. But now it is a year and a half after that decision to leave. It is the best thing that I have ever done. And it took a long time for me to wake up, even though I had the realization that he is a narcissist, 2017. And in November 2023, I had this realization that he is doing it on purpose. He's manipulating me on purpose. Still, the effects of the emotional manipulation and the gaslighting and the questioning of my reality and me not trusting myself and me thinking that, well, on my own, I will make the wrong decisions, and me having the feeling that the other shoe is soon going to drop. Someone is going to flip out on me, and the guilt for abandoning him, not taking care of him anymore, even though he is an adult and he is responsible for caring for himself, for working for himself. My emotions didn't agree because they had been manipulated to put his needs first, and the reality had been twisted so that I found it normal, the way that we had our relationship and our dynamics became normal. That is called normalization. And the small, increasingly smaller favors that he threw my way, called the breadcrumbs, that kept me hoping that things would turn around and change the better one day, was keeping me in relationship. And that effect still lingered. It still lingers a bit today, but I'm almost awakened, and the life is so joyful now that I don't have to work everything around someone who is trying to make things difficult for me, punish me, make me jump when he says something, or make me insecure. put me in positions that will make me feel stupid or less than. So I think we have gone through all the terms of the emotional manipulation, but we can just repeat them once. First, I explained the abuse cycle, the honeymoon phase or the love bomb phase, then the tension build-up phase, where he withdraws, he is a bit irritated, he gives you the silent treatment, and then there is the blow-up, where he gets angry. It's the minimization, like, your feet aren't hurting, look at my feet. The guilt tripping, where he make me feel guilty for not telling him about the umbrella, or the blame shifting, where it is my fault that he kept the umbrella for himself. Then there is the little mini love bomb again, when he tricked me to choose the money, and I fell for it because he was nice during those weeks. Let's see. Oh, there's one more thing, the triangulation. It played a quite big part of our relationship early on, but then I stopped responding and he stopped using it. Triangulation means that he gives off the impression that there is competition for his love, either by telling you that some other woman has been coming on to him or is interested in him, or that another woman is pretty or beautiful or really nice, or he might leave traces or leave his cell phone so that you can see that he got a text from someone else. That's a bit half suspicious. All those things I stopped reacting to. That was one of my most painful. That worked for quite a few years, and he pulled that. But I stopped reacting and he stopped using it. So it is not unconscious processes going on for the emotional manipulator's part. He is very conscious because he is feeling what works to steer you. He is trying to steer you. He's trying to control you. He's trying to diminish you. He's making you insecure so that you will depend on him, so that he gets more power and he gets more control. And it doesn't matter to him how you feel or how much your feet are bleeding. If this was helpful, I have written an ebook that is called How Could He? And I am currently reading that ebook for free here on YouTube. So I just finished the first chapter, and I will put the link below. And in there I explain in detail, but in another way, what emotional manipulation is and the effects it has on you. I think it can be very useful. So check it out. I'm Emma, holding up a light over the bridge. Remember, there is always a way out. There is always a way forward. Please be safe, take care, and have a great day.